So good afternoon, evening, or good morning, everyone. We know we have participants from countries on several continents. Welcome to a new webinar, well, the last one. I'm Rocío Macías, and together with Chiara Gavi, who is here with us, we are coordinating the Eurocolangionet Mentorship Program, which aims to support the career of junior investigators in our network. Eurocolangionet is a cost-action funded by the European Commission. These mentorship lectures are organized in cooperation with the European Network for the Study of Cholangiocarcinoma, ENSCA, and the International Cholangiocarcinoma Research Network, ICRN, and have the endorsement of the European Association for the Study of the Liver, ISEL, the United European Gastroenterology, UEG, and the Cholangiocarcinoma Charities, AMMF in UK, and Cholangiocarcinoma Foundation in US. Chiara and I want to thank all of them for their support, and also the Université La Sapienza in Rome for hosting the webinars. We have here Vincenzo. Hi, Vincenzo. I give you the floor.
Hi, Rocío. Hi, everyone. It is a great pleasure to be here representing Sapienza University of Rome as a grant holder of the European Cholangiocarcinoma Network and host institution of this webinar. I thanks, as always, Chiara Gabbi and Rocío Macías for their long-lasting effort on this relevant topic that are mentorship and early career of young investigator. Today is for me a little bit emotioning to say that this is the last webinar that is hosted by European Cholangiocarcinoma Network, because as you may know, on 17th of September, after 4 years and 6 months, this action inspired in terms of the actual grant. Of course, this experience will be will continue, because I think that the capacity building objective that we have aimed give their result. And this initiative and this webinar is very exemplificative, is a very good example of what is cost and cost action, what are the main aim. And I want just to say that main aim are the career of next generation leader, inclusiveness, and inclusive means not only at the geographic level, but also gender equality. And the today topic indeed is women in science, passion and challenge. And I think that there cannot be another way to close this cost action better than this webinar, that really is a very nice example of what cost action can do for our community of scientists, of clinicians, and so on. So I want to thank Laura Fouassier, a great friend of our cost action. Of course, again, I have to thank Rocío and Chiara for their great effort, and also Diletta and Javier today here. And I want just to say goodbye to all of you, and give now the word to the moderator. Thank you very much on behalf of Sapienza University of Rome.
Thank you, Vincenzo, for the continued support for all the activities we propose and all the work you have done in Eurocolangionet. And thank you all for joining this webinar. I'm sure we are going to have a very interesting talk. Let me introduce our two moderators that will present our speaker. We have two young investigators, members of the Eurocolangionet in Cost Action. Dr. Diletta Overi is a research fellow at the University La Sapienza in Rome. And Dr. Javier Vaquero is a Ramón y Cajal researcher, recently incorporated to the Salamanca Cancer Research Center. Welcome, and thank you both for agreeing to participate today as moderators. I give you the floor.
Thank you very much. With Dileta permission, I would like to introduce the next speaker because she was my supervisor and my mentor for almost 6 years. She is now a dear friend, and it's a pleasure for me to do this. So she's Laura Fouassier. She is a group leader at Saint-Antoine Research Center in Paris, and she obtained her PhD at Sorbonne University, and then she did a postdoc stay at Brian Doctor and Redfish Laboratory in Denver. Later on, she returned to Paris, where she obtained a permanent position at INSERM. She has always worked in biliary pathophysiology, but her lab is currently focused on applying new technologies such as cold atmospheric plasma or nanohyperthermia for the treatment of cholangiocarcinoma. And thanks to this super cool research, she has multiple publications in top journals of the field and has recently secured national and European grants for more than 1 million euros. I know for the fact she is hiring postdocs now, so don't miss the opportunity to join this fantastic lab. I cannot recommend it more. Laura, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Ravia, for the introduction. Hi, everyone. I would like to thank Rocio and Karia for inviting me to do this lecture, because it was a very inspiring lecture I had to prepare. And it reminded me a beautiful time I spent in my previous life when I was a PhD or a postdoc. So I'm going to... So I decided to divide my presentation in 3 parts. So I will talk first about my scientific background, because how I got to where I am, because as you will see, probably it gave me, I mean, this background gave me a new and a better vision of a mentor. And then I will talk about my vision as a mentor based on this background. And also I will speak a little bit, I mean, a little bit of what I expect from a mentee. Because there is a mentee, but there is a mentor, but there is also a mentee. So regarding my academic studies, it's not a linear path. When I was young, I was a young woman. I was a young woman without any idea of what to do of my life. I didn't know what to do, anything. Fortunately, I had a good father who is not here anymore, unfortunately. And he asked me, so Laura, what do you like? And at that time, I said, okay, I like biology. So he said, okay, so you're going to go to high school and learn biology. So I prepare, it was a long time ago, I prepare what we call in French, a technical baccalaureate in biology. And during these 4 years, I learned chemistry, biochemistry, biology, immunology. I learned a lot of stuff around biology and chemistry. And then after this, I spent 2 years to be to get higher technician certificates. So at that point, I was a technician in biology. So after that, I started to work because I had a certificate. So I said, okay, now I can work as a technician. Okay, let's start to work. So I started to work in medical analysis laboratory as a technician. But it didn't last for a long time, because after 6 months, I said to myself, okay, Laura, you cannot stay as a technician for the rest of your life. It's not possible. I don't know what happened in my mind, but I decided, to go to university and to prepare a master, what I did, and then a PhD. So it was at Sorbonne University a long time ago, as I said. And the message I want to say is that you have to keep going. And during this long path, I forgot what I don't like, and I follow what I like what I liked the most, and it was science. It was science and research, because during my PhD I did research work. So it's my first message. And then came the PhD time. So on biliary physiopathology, because as Javier said, I started my PhD on biliary physiology and biliary diseases. I was a mentee at that time. My mentor was Professor Chantal Housset. I had a very good time during my PhD. And I had the chance during those years to do what we call now, at that time we didn't call that like this, but a short-term scientific mission. So I went to Montgomery B. Cell's laboratory, and he worked at that time. I think now the laboratory doesn't exist anymore, but on liver fibrosis in San Francisco. So I spent 2 months over there. It was really a nice place, believe me, to do this kind of mission. And for me, it was a great opportunity to meet other researchers, of course, to learn technical skills, because I was there for specific technical skills, to learn specific technical skills, and also to learn English, because I was French, not speaking much English, and also to start a network. And at that time, when I came in this lab, Professor Vlad Radziu, some of you may know, this famous French professor, was doing a postdoc. And in this lab, there were 2 big researchers on liver fibrosis, Scott Friedman, you may know also him, and Don Roque. So I had the chance to meet those people. And of course, I discovered a beautiful city, San Francisco. So it was I spent a really good time in this laboratory as a mentee. And then after that, I had to do a postdoc, because this is the way it works in France. Why? Because it's a mandatory step to get a permanent position as a researcher at INSERM. So I remind you that INSERM is a French research institute, a public French research institute dedicated to research on human diseases. My mentor found a laboratory for me, because I didn't know where to go. So we spent a lot of time discussing together to find a laboratory in line with what I did previously during my PhD thesis on biliary diseases. And for that, we contacted Greg Fitz at that time. He was at Denver. It's not anymore at Denver. It's at Dallas now. And he said, okay, no problem, but you have to come with a grant, to come with a financial support. So I applied financial support a year before to go. I got an INSERM grant, and I went to Denver, which is a beautiful city. And over there, I met another researcher. We worked with Greg Fitz at that time. And I can say from those 2.5 years, I spent beautiful time, and because I had 2 amazing mentors. And why I had 2 amazing mentors? Because they have kind of state of mind that for me, it's very important when you become a mentor. They trust me. They had an open mind. They were open to discussion between them and with me. They organized all the time I work. I was working very hard because I came to United States alone without my boyfriend, and they're taking care of me. They encourage me all the time. They gave me opportunity to present my work locally, or we went many times to several congress with Brian Doctor. And it was the first time also for me to be a reviewer. And I remember Greg Fitz giving me this opportunity to review a paper. I don't remember about the paper, but to hepatology, which was at that time a big journal. And it was also the first it was also I had the opportunity to go to a meeting, to meet for the first time what I call the big bosses of the biliary field. And it was, I met during this meeting Gregor Gores, Mario Starzabosco, Jens Boyer, Gianfranco Alpini, Marco Mazzioni, which was not big boss of biliary field, but just to tell you that all this was very important for me to start a network, and also I well published. In addition of this, I learned many laboratory skills because I was there also to learn a lot of skills and to improve my English. And it was a fantastic time of my life. Then I have to go back in France. So for that, I got postdoc French grant for 2 years in the same lab as my PhD. I'm not going to speak a lot about this, but for me, it was really hard time after my postdoc in the United States. But what I can say from this, now I can say that patient, because I loved my work, research work, I can say that patient prevails over relationships, whether they are good or not. And so I had to keep going, and it's what I did. And in 2004, I got my permanent position. And I just want to tell you that to get a permanent position at INSERM, you have to go through a competitive examination, which is really hard. So I got this permanent position after the third time. So now, from this background, I learned a lot, of course. Probably it gave me some ideas how to be a good mentor. Now I'm a mentor. So I became a mentor with the recruitment of 2 women, and it was a fantastic postdoc and a fantastic PhD student. We published a lot of publications together, meaning that they were very efficient. And now they have good position because Audrey is project leader in oncology in a big company, Servier, and Tan is a senior project leader in a big company, Borzier lab. And I would say with them, I learned to be a mentor because I had to be a mentor. So a mentor there is a little definition here, is to give advice, to guide people, to support and to help, of course, but it's much more than this. It's, for me, the success keys for a good mentor, to be a good mentor is trust. This is the first thing, is trust, freedom, to give freedom to people to have ideas, to follow their ideas in their experiments, to choose how to do their experiments. And this is very important, to give to mentee freedom. And it goes with to have an open mind, of course. If you give freedom to someone, it means that you have an open mind for me. Also, to give them the opportunity to expand their network, to create a network. And for that, you have to give them the opportunity to review paper, to communicate. So all of them communicate at many congresses. Also, one thing that is very important is to respect the private life, to give free time, vacation. Right now, I said to my PhD or to my postdoc, okay, take vacation if you are tired. You need vacation. It's very important to be not being stressed all the time, but to be to take vacation. And also you have to accept, which sometimes a little bit hard, the person to grow. Of course, it's like when you have kids. I think you understand better when you have kids, and to be better than you, because they are growing, and sometimes they are better than you, and it's like that. And then I recruited another woman, which was a PhD student, Cindy, and a man, which was Javier. And what I want to say here is during her PhD, Cindy got pregnant. And I can say it was not easy for me. I mean, because suddenly you say, okay, the PhD program is going to slow down. You think like this. And I was not thinking much about the woman who wants to have a baby, and because it's her choice. I was thinking about the work mostly. So, and I can say that in this adventure, I had the support of Javier, because I don't know, maybe because it's a man, or a very comprehensive man. And he was very understanding and very helpful. And I can say it helped me a lot to manage Cindy. And Cindy, by the fact, was working. I mean, she was working at the time with Javier, so it was perfect timing. But what I can say at the end, that she got her PhD, and I can say that I was really, really happy for her and very proud, because with 2 kids, because she had her second kids during her PhD, she succeeds to manage her PhD, which is wonderful for a woman. Now she's a researcher at Yaoundé in Cameroon. And here, what I learned is you have to be tolerant. Tolerance, you become to be more and more tolerant, understandable and helpful. You don't have choice. You have to accept this choice of life when a woman wants to be pregnant. Like me, when I got kids, I slowed down my research activity, but I kept going. So when you like something, you keep going. And what I always said, and we discussed a lot with Javier about that, when you work with happy people, you work better. You work better because they are happy. I mean, and you are happy at the end. Then I would like to say a few words, of course, about Javier. We spent almost 5 years together. We published more than 16 publications. We are still some ongoing, because we are continue to work together. And I can say that I'm very proud of what he's doing now. Is from July 23, Javier leads his own team. So I'm very proud of him. And I think this is the best success of a mentor, to see how is a PhD or doctorate, postdoc, become, follow their dream and become what they want to become. And here, the success keys was, again, freedom. Javier had a lot of ideas. We were free to discuss. We had an exceptional relationship. Very early, when he came in France, I considered as a researcher. And we were working at, this is the best relationship you can have with between a mentor and mentee, is we were working in pairs all the time. Also, something that I learned with time is you have to learn to listening people, which is sometimes hard. And what I also learned with the time is more than impose to do something to someone is to suggest. So suggest means you propose and then you discuss and you say what is the best way to do this experiment, to follow this idea, whatever. But imposing your ideas, the way you want things to do is not a good idea. So now, what I expect from a mentee? Well, mentor-mentee is a strong relationship, and it's based on trust. I mean, otherwise it cannot work for me. And for me, it's a moral contract. When someone goes to a lab, you have to establish, I mean, it's natural. I mean, it's kind of, if it works, if he has to work, you have, I mean, it's not, you don't speak about this moral contract. It's obvious, it's natural. And in turn, for me, mentee may trust, of course, is her mentor. This is a help mentor, because for me, it's a two-way relationship. Be honest, capable to say what is wrong, what is good, criticize, but it goes with honesty, be agree or not, because you can be, I mean, you can be disagreed. I mean, we are free of our ideas. And in this way, you can help. I would like to say that I did some research on the website, and I saw that there is a celebration of women and girls in science. I didn't know. It happened in February 11. And also I found some information regarding the proportion of women scientists and engineers here in 2020 in a website, Europa website. Well, in France, we're not very good at this, but I can say that there are 11 European regions where female scientists are in a good proportion in laboratory: Spain, Portugal, Bulgaria, Poland, Lithuania, Denmark, Sweden. So there is no, the France doesn't appear here. Well, I'm not really surprised. And the bad guys are German and Hungarian regions, some Hungarian regions. And to conclude, I would give you my definition of mentoring. I like the definition of Wikipedia definition. I'll let you read this, but my definition, a mentor-mentee relationship is based on trust and honesty. This is the base of communication. I mean, this is the base of all relationship for me, but they do a collaborative work built on a solid communication. So communication also is the base of everything, either at work or at home. We have to take, I mean, mentor as mentee have to take into account personality of both, because we have different personality, which is normal. And the role of a mentor is to provide advice for the mentee to achieve personal and professional development. And for me, a mentor is a guide and a talent spotlight. And she or he supports mentee to become independent and follow her or his own career path. So I will finish with this sentence I wrote in red. Mentoring is self-gratifying. It's really true for a mentor, and a source of personal satisfaction that helps you to grow provide reciprocal benefits for the mentor and collective benefits for science. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much. That was a great presentation, and amazing also to see your perspective on mentorship, which is always appreciated by us younger investigators. The floor is open for questions from the audience. I want to start with something a little bit provocative, because I see you have been mentoring two young women researchers during their career I think at the same time, and there's always this thing that all women work environments are bad because, you know, hormones and rivalry between women. So what's your take on an all-women team? So how does it feel? Because I think like some kind of sisterhood starts, so it's actually very good. So what's your experience with this?
Oh, I didn't have any problem with them because they were not in the same subject first. They were working on different projects, so they were following their own work, and we had it was perfect. I mean, we had, they both had a very good relationship. We didn't experience this kind of problem, believe me. No, we don't. I never experienced this kind of trouble with women, honestly. No, because they are probably I mean, I was working with very talented people, believe me, and they are not like that. Not for me. I mean, they were not like that.
Thank you. So, Javier, what's your take on how? So, I understand that when there's extra work to do to cover up for someone, might be a struggle, might be hard, and I understand it's hard not to get personal at some point with the feelings, like, why do I have to take in all the work? So understand you have been super supportive. So what's your suggestion for, I mean, all colleagues, but maybe especially male colleagues? How do you take care of these feelings when covering up for a woman that's maybe pregnant or with kids or family commitment?
I think it's very important to put yourself in their position as far as a man can be in a pregnant woman position. But I mean, at that time, I had a girlfriend that now is my wife, and she's the mother of my child. And I mean, she works in science too. So I was thinking, what would I like people that work with my wife do if she got pregnant? So you have to be supportive, because I mean, if you are not supportive, it will be bad for her, for you, and for the laboratory anyway, because the environment will be bad and everything will be bad. So the only thing I could think of is, let's try to help as much as I can. I mean, you cannot do everything for her because it's her PhD, so she has to learn the techniques, the work, how to manage herself, everything. But you can be supportive as far as you can. And I think that's one of the best things that I learned from Laura's lab, is what she said. If people are happy, the lab goes well. I think that's the best thing I have learned in my entire career, and I learned it in Paris. Because, I mean, I spent some of the best years of my life, especially the first 3 or 4 years. Then things got more complicated because more work, and then I wanted to move back to Spain and everything. But when we were there, me or Cindy or the other students that I met during that time, we only have to be there, work, be happy. Laura was very understandable. As she said, she gave us freedom. That is one of the best things you can have when you are starting to like to be more independent, you know. So I think the point of, I mean, not just when you have a women that get pregnant, in any occasion that you have a problem in the lab, you just have to put yourself in the other people's position, and then you will think, okay, I would like people to be nice with me, so let's try to be nice with them.
Thank you. So we have a question from the audience. So it says, Dear Laura, thank you very much for this personal view on mentorship. I completely relate to what you were presenting. My question is, do you at this time in your career still have a mentor yourself? If not, do you think you will also benefit even as a senior researcher?
No. I think now I reach I don't need a mentor anymore. No, I reach a point where I don't want to be anymore a mentee. If I have a mentor, it means I'm still a mentee. I want now to help. I'm more in this. I was not like that before, but I was not in the way to help young researchers. It's so hard to do research. It becomes harder and much harder than before at our time. To get a research position and to be a researcher. So if someone, I can see students, they want to become a researcher. And once students say, okay, I say, wow, okay, I have to do the much I can to help her or to help him to do a researcher, because it's so hard. So I don't want to just cut their dream and to say, okay, it's not a good idea. Don't do that because you won't have any position anymore. Anyway, so no, I want to help them to go to follow their dream, and that's it. No, I don't need a mentor anymore.
I would like to say something because following your answer now, you said that things were much easier before to become a researcher, but I would like to know, I mean, your take and also maybe Dileta's opinion on how it is now. So how has the world changed for a woman to become a researcher? Because you got your PhD in the 90s, so you have been doing this for several years, and you may have an opinion of how things were before and how things have become now to be a woman, to become a researcher, and to be a boss in a group, to have mentees, you know, how these have evolved.
How can I answer to that, Javier? Well, I say it was easier before. It's what I think now, but it was hard before. But there is less. I mean, less. Right now in France, it's complicated because I mean, you have to find money. You have to apply for grants. I mean, as a researcher, you cannot do anything alone. You need a mentor for sure. And I think previously it was not maybe obvious for me, but I think now it's important to have a mentor. And as a woman, it's for me it's harder when you are a woman. You can see the team leader, for example, in our center. The majority of team leaders are men, so it means it's not so easy to become a team leader for a woman in France. I mean, for sure.
So what we are seeing here now in Italy, as you saw probably from the map, we are not in the best position in this chart for number of women in science. But what we usually do, one of the first days of classes, when the new students come in, is we count how many men compared to women students there are, and there's more and more and more women. Like they're starting to be like around 90% of med students, for example. So for sure, it's starting to become more and more interesting as a career option for women. Anything related to science. Still in the higher position, it might be harder because in the end, all the family commitments might get in the way of having like the full career. But of course, I'm sure there's more and more opportunities to get into university and then find your own career, which could be academia or also the industry. And so as looking at the numbers, I think we are getting in a nice direction, but we'll see. Of course, there's always the need for support from a mentor that understands your situation.
I think if you are a woman and you want to become a researcher, you have to keep going and do what you want to do. Don't say, okay, I'm a woman, it's going to be difficult to reach this position, blah, blah, blah. No, you have to follow your what you like the most. I mean, if you like to do this work, to do research during your PhD, during a postdoc is very important after your PhD. Because if you do a postdoc, it means you want to become a researcher, either in academic or a private company, it doesn't matter. But you have to keep going because it's what you like. You cannot give up something you like the most. It's not possible. So it's the same thing for a man, it's the same thing for a woman. Vincenzo, you wanted to say something?
Laura, everyone, yeah, I'm very much inspired by this webinar and discussion. I remember many years ago, we had this kind of meeting at IASR. You know, in the IAS there is the Young Investigator Career Seminar, and I asked Professor Tanya Roskam to give a talk on this topic. It is always a matter of life balance every time in the academic career, especially in research. And for a woman, actually, I can say after many years, there are some improvement, but still there is many things to do. I think the next generation have a very good example to follow. Always there are women that are leaders, and so for all of the attendings and hopefully for other people that will see this, there are always very good example in different fields. So I think, as Laura just said now, is a matter of consistency on their willingness and dream and hard work. There are not any kind of rules in science for woman and male is always the same. For woman, probably there are more issues related to a life balance. But as Laura say, keep going. Yeah, I have 2 daughters, so for me, I feel this as a very important matter when in perspective for people around me, and yeah, and the matter is very complex, but there are no rules, but the success is a matter of hard work. But when you do hard work, you know you are going in the good direction. So never give up and keep going. And yeah, thank you again for this inspiring webinar.
You're welcome. So you were also mentioning that career is not linear. Sometimes it takes some steps back or in different directions. So of course, again, this applies to women, but also to any researcher that is having doubts, maybe want to try something different for a while or explore some ideas. So what are your advice when you are in a twisted path.
Hola. But you know, I became first a technician because I didn't know what to do, because I didn't know what research was. I mean, I didn't know anything about that. So I chose this path, I mean, going back to university and doing a PhD, because I discover the laboratory, research laboratory, by doing several, how would you say that, training? You know, I was sending letters to laboratory. Yes, would it be possible to go to your lab to discover the research environment? It's like that I discovered. So you have to go to visit some laboratory to see how people works in this research field. And it's like that I discovered that I was amazed to see those researchers searching how. I remember I was in various laboratory working on viruses and how this virus works and blah blah blah. So, and it sometimes it's opportunity. You have the opportunity to visit a lab, but you have to, how do you say, to provoke the things. You have to search by yourself your own path, because nobody will find. I mean, you'll tell you, okay, do this, do that. No, you have to. It's a work on yourself. It's a work on yourself. And when I discovered the laboratory environment, by sending letter, would it be possible to spend a month for free? It was for free in your lab, because I want to discover the research milieu. Then I started by one laboratory and then a second one, and then it's like that. I continue. I kept going until I got my PhD.
I remember once I went to like a small training during my med school in a immunology lab, and they had us do some flow cytometry. So while we were pipetting, I was thinking, oh, that's so weird. I'm never gonna do this again. And then that's what we do every day. So
yeah.
Hello, can you hear me?
Go, Vincenzo.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
we can hear you.
Go ahead, Juan.
Hi, it's Juan here. Laura, that was an excellent presentation. I have seen different models of mentoring. So sometimes it is the responsibility of the mentee to drive the process, set up the meetings, and keep the relationship going. And sometimes it's the mentor who takes the lead. Which do you think works better? What is your preferred model?
For me, it's the mentor to do that. I mean, it has to come from the mentor first, I think, and then. But you can discuss if the mentee say, "Okay, I can do it," or I will let him or her do it. But the mentor, I would say, first.
Yeah, thank you. I think sometimes the thoughts are that if the mentee drives it, then it's a little bit more of their responsibility to drive it.
Yes, but maybe at the beginning it can be the mentor, and then you pass the mentee can do it. I mean, the mentee. Well, at the beginning, when you start to work with someone, I mean, you have to drive.
Of course.
The work at the beginning, and then when you feel more comfortable with the mentee, you see, okay, he can manage this, you let it do it. I mean, if it's okay with him, or her. it's nice also as a mentee to have this kind of responsibility, I would say. Yes, of course.
Thank you, Laura. Thanks for the excellent webinar.
You're welcome.
I can add something. I would say it's a two-way path, as you said, Laura, but I agree with you that at the beginning, it's a responsibility of the mentor, because the mentee is new in this environment. I mean, you have arrived, for example, I arrived to Paris. I didn't speak French. Thankfully, you spoke English very well, and the people in the lab spoke English very well. So I could communicate, but everything was new. The city was new. So I think it's a good way that the mentor starts to take care of the mentee. And then once the mentee is managing more or less everything, this can go into a cycle and to communicate one to the other. But I think it's important for the mentor to take care at the beginning and to let things set up, and then to go both ways.
Yes. Vincenzo, do you want to add something?
Yeah, if I can, yeah, this discussion about mentee-mentor relationship is quite relevant. I had the occasion always being into the years and organizing seminar. I remember one seminar about mentee mentorship with the professor from Bujon University. I don't remember really the name, and there was a mentee. It was a woman, a very young woman from Bulgaria, if I remember well. So their words was very, very interesting for me, and there is a similar what you are saying as a suggestion. I think that yes, the mentor should guide the topic, but I think that to be visible, to have a possibility in the career from the beginning, we should try to find a niche, a topic, and an approach that is based on a certain level of autonomy and independence of the mentee. So I think that a young investigator should really point the effort on their self in terms of preparation, in terms of skills. For example, now in science we need a lot of knowledge about statistics, bioinformatics, of course, for the Italian and other French, English knowledge very well. So I think that the people that want to approach our field should be aware that should invest a lot of effort on their self from the really beginning, and this is relevant to start to be a little expert, a big expert of little topic.
Karia, it's almost time. The time is almost over, so I don't know if you want to conclude, Karia or Rocio.
Okay.
I don't know if we continue or not, but Karia said at 4.
Yeah, I think it's a good time to finish. So
okay.
Thank you, Violeta, and thank you, Javi, for moderating this webinar. And thank you very much, Laura, for the nice presentation, for your time, and for sharing your experiences. As mentioned, this was the last mentorship lecture of Eurocolonial Course Action. And for me, it has been a pleasure to share this coordination of this activity with Chiara Gavi. I have learned a lot. Thanks again to Vincenzo and Jesus for their hard work in the course action, and congratulations for all the important achievements reached. And just to finish, I would like to invite you to join the new course action Precision BTC Network and to participate in all the activities that we are planning together with all our partners, but especially with Cholangiocarcinoma Foundation. Thank you, Juan, for joining today. And thank you all for attending, and see you soon. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.